Good day, dear students, and welcome back to our English class. Today, we're going to be starting with another chapter from the rapid reading section of your textbook. It is called Foolish Friends. And although the title speaks about friends, it's not really a story about friends, but it's about siblings, a brother and a sister, and something foolish that they do out of their lack of knowledge and also out of their innocence. Let's see what this chapter is all about. So at the start we have a sparrow had made a nest in Kesho's house and had laid eggs. Both Kesho and his sister Shama watched the nest for hours every day. Even meal times were forgotten. They felt a queer fascination in this pursuit and asked themselves all sorts of questions. How big are the eggs? What color? How many? When will the chicks come out of them? How will their wings grow? What the nest looks like from inside? Questions which always remained unanswered. Their mother had been their mother had little time for them after the household duties. The father was always busy reading. Okay. So what we have so far is a family. So there's Kesho, that's the brother, and there's Shama, that's the sister. Kesho is the elder of the two siblings, and their parents, the mother and the father. Father and is always busy reading, and mother is always busy with her household work. So father and mother both don't have time for their children. So the children spend a lot of the time by themselves. And what's fascinating for them at the moment is that there is a nest, a sparrow's nest, that has been found somewhere in the garden or somewhere in their house, not exactly inside the house, it's outside the house, but within their compound wall. Okay, and they are fascinated because they've never seen a bird's nest before, and of course they are also interested in knowing what it looks like from the inside. And I'm sure most of you would remember being very curious about a bird's nest. As you grow up, of course, and you've seen more and more nests, the curiosity kind of dies out. But when you're seeing it for the first time, you're really full of questions. You want to know how this works and everything. So these children are not very old; they're very young, and they have similar questions. So we are told that they used to watch the nest for hours every day. They wanted to see if anything happens there. They can see chicks in the nest, or whether they can hear any sounds or anything. They just wanted to know what's going on inside, but they can't really see it because it's of course nests are never built down. It's always built on top of something. So we are presuming there's probably a tree or something like that, and the sparrow has built its nest somewhere there. Okay, so even meal times were forgotten. So engrossed were there in this pursuit of, looking at the nest and trying to find out what's going on inside the nest, that they would forget to eat their food as well. They felt a queer fascination in this pursuit, a very odd sort of interest in this process of watching the nest, and ask themselves all sorts of questions like how big are the eggs, what are the color of the eggs, how many eggs are there, what will the chicks, when will the chicks come out of them, how will their wings grow. So innocent, but at the same time very curious questions that they have. And what does the nest look like from the inside? Questions which always remain unanswered. Now, this makes it very evident that the reasons why the question has remained unanswered is because the parents are not around, because the parents obviously know the answers to most of these questions, but the parents don't have the time for the two children. So that's why they always remain unanswered. And also you can come to know that they aren't really old, because although Keshu is the elder brother, he is not too old himself. Therefore, he is unable to answer questions that his sister asks him. And he also has questions of his own, which nobody can answer, of course. Okay. Then we're told between themselves they sometimes try to find the answer. So the only solution to them is to talk to themselves and in their own childlike manner try to find answers to their questions, which may not necessarily be correct, but at least it will stop that nagging curiosity that they are experiencing. So we're told Shama would say, Shama is the sister, by the way. Shama would say, I wonder if the chicks would fly away when they come out of the eggs. Keshu would boastfully display his superior knowledge and say, "How ignorant you are! How can the chicks fly away till their wings come out?" And Shama would ask, "What will the sparrow feed them on?" Keshu would find himself without an answer. So, a few questions Keshu was able to answer. For example, when Shama asked him, "Will the birds fly as soon as they're born?" And Keshu just said, "No, obviously not. They need wings to fly, and it'll take them some time before they learn to fly and they actually fly away from this particular nest in our compound wall." Okay, but there are other questions like, what will the sparrow feed the chicks? And even Keshu had no answer for that. Okay, so just two children trying to satisfy their curiosity about the nest that they find in their compound wall. Then what happens? Days went by, and with the passing days, the children's curiosity in the contents of the nest also increased. Quite obviously, they were dying to know what was happening inside. "Supposing the chicks have already come out," said one of them, "where would the poor sparrow find food to feed them all?" The question once asked became a menacingly oppressive the question once asked became menacingly oppressive, and they imagined the chicks almost dying of starvation. Okay, so now every single day they have this one thing that they do, and that is they watch the nest. And obviously, since they've got nothing else to distract them, all of their attentions are on the nest itself. So they keep questioning each other. They keep coming up with new questions about the well-being of the members in that nest. So one of the question is, where would the poor sparrow find food to feed them on? Because obviously they don't know what does the sparrow eat or how does the sparrow get food. They have no idea about it, but they're just asking questions like that. And both of them cannot answer this question, because both of them want that the birds will stay with them forever, and they just want to make sure that everything is fine for the birds, right? So once they ask this question about how will the sparrow find food to feed everyone, it becomes menacingly oppressive. That means since they are unable to what do you say stop thinking about this, it's like it keeps growing, this fear that they have, this anxiety that they feel about how will the sparrow feed the little ones. Okay, and they start imagining the extreme situations, like they start imagining the chicks almost dying of starvation because the sparrow is unable to find food for the chicks. But it's not possible, but that's how their children's mind works, right? So we're told their minds therefore started working on all sorts of plans to avert this disaster. So very innocently and very sweetly also, they tried to think of ways in which they can solve this problem. How can we save the day? How can we become heroes and protect these birds and make sure that these birds that have come into our compound wall stay here forever? Okay. So it was at last decided that some rice should be left in the nest. Shama jumped with joy. "Then," she said, "the poor sparrow won't have to leave them alone to go and look for food." The brother agreed. So the best solution that both brother and sister come up with is, there is rice in our house, so we'll take some rice and some food, and we'll put it in the nest so that the bird doesn't have to go too far, and uh, you know all the little chicks are fed properly. Okay, that is what the solution is. So the brother also agreed. Then we're told, "The sun also must be bothering them," said Shama. This had not occurred to Keshav. "How right you are," he said. "There is no protection at all from the sun." So obviously, since the nest is out in the open, perhaps on a tree or somewhere else, maybe on the roof, we are not really sure where exactly it is, but it's open and it is exposed to the sun. So they realized that the sun also can be very disturbing to the birds and to all the birds. That's just the sparrow as well as the eggs. So they decide that we should do something about that also, because see, their intention is just to protect. They don't have any idea as to what they're dealing with. They just want to nurture these birds as best as they can think of, right? And they're small children. They really have not. They really don't have that much knowledge about birds and what will happen if you go and touch the nest, right? So then, so the sun must also be bothering them, they said. This had not occurred to Keshav, so the sister puts up, because the sister being the girl, she's a lot more concerned about these small things. So she, raises these questions, and the brother also, once he realizes it, even he is not able to shake off that doubt, or that anxiety or that fear. So he says, how right you are. There is no protection at all from the sun. Who knows? They may even be thirsty. Okay, so because of the sun, they may even be thirsty. Okay, the two put their heads together again, and it was decided that they must put not only rice but also some water in the nest and provide some covering for it against the sun. So the solution to that is, along with the rice, they're also going to put some water, and to cover the nest from the sun, to put some sort of a shade. How they're going to do it is a different question, but they just know they have to put some shade for the nest so that the birds are and the eggs are comfortable. Then we are told, as soon as the decision was taken, they started collecting the various things. Shama brought some rice from the kitchen. Keshav emptied a small bowl, cleaned it, and filled it up with water. So very excitingly, they go about serving the birds. So they got the rice from the kitchen. They managed to find a small bowl and they fill it with water, and that is also ready. Now search began for a piece of cloth to improvise a canopy. So a canopy would be a sort of a shade, okay, but a rough shade for the nest, right? So now they have to improvise. They have to come up with smart ways in which they can put up the canopy, okay, because the nest, we know, is very delicate. You can't put something heavy over it, it might fall, and everything in it might also fall. So they've got to keep something really light, okay. So then they have, but the question arose on what will the canopy rest. So even if they find a shade which is light enough, how will they manage to balance it, and what will that canopy rest? That's another question. So they had not thought of this earlier, but now that they're executing their plan, it's suddenly becoming very clear to them that we have no idea as to how to balance the canopy. Keshav again put on his thinking cap. So Keshav starts thinking again. Keshav is the brother. Ultimately, he said to Shama, go and bring that small waste paper basket and make sure that mother is not looking. So he is ordering his younger sister around like all elder brothers would do. He tells the younger sister, you go and get one paper basket. They have a waste paper basket, a small one. Get it and make sure that mother is not looking. Why he's asking her to be very secretive here, very discreet, is because if the mother finds out about it, then both of them will get some sort of a reprimand from her, some sort of shouting from her, or she may even hit them, and they will not be allowed to do what they're doing. What they're doing is a little mission that they have, a fun sort of a mission or an adventure, and their mother won't support them in that. So he doesn't want that to happen. So he tells his sister quietly, please go and get that waste paper basket. Then she says, but that has a big hole in it, said Shama. It will provide hardly any shade. So quite logically she says, that has a hole. So how can that provide shade? The sun will get through the hole. And of course there is no point of using that. Okay. But he says, go and get the basket, replied Keshav, annoyed. Okay, so he doesn't like to be challenged because he believes since he's the elder one, he's the smarter one. So he just wants to say something, he wants to order, and he expects that the order should be followed without questions being asked, especially by someone who is younger and less knowledgeable than he is, which is his sister. So Keshav, being the dominant one here and the kind of a dictator here, he orders. He says, just go and get the basket. Okay, and he's quite annoyed with his sister for challenging his orders. She said, he adds, I will think out of a way of closing the hole. So he says, don't worry, I know that there is a hole on that waste paper basket, but that is up to me. I will think of a way to close the hole. But for now, you just go and get the basket. Then Shama went and brought the basket. Keshav stuffed the hole with some waste paper and resting it on a twig, he said, now if I place it like this on the nest, won't it provide the shade? Okay, so what is the solution with the waste paper basket? Was he just took some paper and he covered it. Again, it's very unclear to us as to what kind of paper basket was this, how light was it, how big was it, and how the paper managed to cover the hole. All of that is very unclear, but what we know is that he is successful in using that broken waste paper basket as a canopy, as a shade. And he uses a twig. A twig is a small stick. Okay, so and it will not be very heavy because otherwise the nest will fall. So definitely a small stick is used, and the canopy is also quite light. And they manage to, rather, they decide that this will work as a canopy for the nest. So he says, now if I place it like this on the nest, won't it provide the shade? Again, like this, it is not made very clear to us, but we can imagine that the twig is under the basket and he's got to peg the twig somewhere in the nest and manage to balance it so that it provides a nice shade on top of the nest. Okay. So once that is done, he's trying to show off with the sister. Not just show off, he's just trying to show that I'm the smarter one. And trust me to find solutions to problems that we both are facing. So right, he says, will this work? Will this not work? Okay. So she says, how clever you are, Bhaiya, replied Shama admiringly. So younger sister is, overwhelmed with the kind of intelligence showed by her elder brother. And she says, very frankly, you're really clever, Bhaiya. Then, now this they have decided, but they have still not put the canopy with the twig on the nest. The nest is somewhere high up, either on the roof of their house or on a tree in their garden. It's not really clear where it is, but it is somewhere outdoors in their compound wall though. Okay, so we are told it was a summer afternoon. The father was at the office. The mother finished her work, put the two children to bed, and lay down to rest. No sooner did the children find her asleep, they quietly got up, stealthily undid the latch, and escaped out of the room. Okay, so the minute their mother finally falls asleep and the father's not around, the coast is clear. Nobody to stop them from doing what they really want. So they get up and very stealthily, very secretly, they open the latch of the door and they escape out of the room. Okay, we all know where they are escaping. They're going to the nest. Then we are told Keshav brought a high stool, stood on it, and tried to reach the nest, but the stool was too low. So he brings a stool and tries to climb on it and get to the nest, but the stool was too low. And he is also not too tall because he's a child himself, right? So he doesn't reach it. A table was therefore dragged and the stool was put on it. Keshav climbed up and Shama held the stool. Sometimes the stool shook a little. Keshav would shout, hold it firmly or I will give you a good beating when I come down. Okay. Shama would grab the stool firmly. And again her attention would roam to the nest and her hold on the stool loosen. Okay. So the last thing or the last trick that they come up with is they bring a table and put a chair on top of the table, and finally Keshav is able to reach the nest. He's tall enough to reach the nest. And of course, since I'm sure all of us have done this as kids, whenever you have had someone climbing a table with the help of a chair. Okay, I mean, putting a chair on top of the table and then climbing that chair which is on the table, you need someone to hold that chair, because if you lose your balance, you'll fall, and you'll fall from quite a height. And I know when we're decorating for Chaturthi or for any other festivals, we do these things. Okay, so it's very relatable. So somebody needs to hold it, and obviously since nobody else is around, his sister has to hold it. So the sister is of course still a kid herself, and she's also very curious that finally we are going close to the nest. So she wants to know what's going on and everything. So all her attention is on the nest itself, and as a result of that, she gets distracted and her grip of the chair is loosened. And every time the grip is loosened, he starts shaking a little bit on the top. So he starts shouting at her. Says, you better hold it. If anything happens to me, you see, I'll come down and I'll hit you. Okay, like every dominating big brother. Okay, so he is threatening her that you have to hold, because I should not fall down and nothing should happen, and nobody should come to know that we are up to all these tricks here. Okay, because our mother is supposed to be asleep. Okay. but he manages to finally reach the nest. Okay, we will stop here for today's class, and in tomorrow's lecture we are going to be looking at what happens after they get to the nest. Thank you.